The reshade is covering my clicks there. Alright, now we can officially just simply start the game or restart the game for the last time, and then I can explain as to why I had so many. Well, actually, you can't see it. You know what? Something I noticed actually already yesterday as well. I've started using the webcam on the top right so often at this point that I just default to there every time at this point. It's usually the corner that is covering the least of the important things, but that's also like usually where minimap might be, or also somewhere where like souls might be in these games, or like currency or something. I think I'm gonna keep having it on the top right at this point. It's like, it's the least intrusive place I can have it at the same time. But like, I had 28,000 of that red mercury, which is the souls equivalent in this game. And the reason as to why I had so many of them there in the very early game after getting the WUCHANG boss from yesterday is because I was troubleshooting the crashing because of how systematic it was. Like, every single time I would start the PC, for example, like the past few days, and I, like, say, started streaming or recording immediately when Windows is at its absolute, like, most vulnerable state, which is, like, the first 10 to 15 minutes after a restart, when it's doing, like, a lot of other, like, background processes, or your PC, like, fully starts up. If I went ahead and I played some game, especially with stream on at the same time, it would be the most like vulnerable to crashing possible. And I was able to make it systematically crash each and every time with my settings. So then I was like, so this obviously is no longer a coincidence. So what I did there instead is I started investigating, and I tested it with this game while I had this game on the background and I was playing it at the same time. It's this same area without going anywhere off stream that I, went on stream. And I was just basically farming these enemies at the same time while testing different, like, overclock, undervolt settings on the GPU and stuff. It turned out to be that the reason as to why the crashing was happening was because, okay, so I have a plus 1700 megahertz overclock on my 4070 Super, which in the past, from my testing, was actually fully stable, but this was a long time ago at this point. I got fully stable stress tests as well as benchmarks, as well as in-game like testing as well, but not on the most demanding like Unreal Engine 5 games and on like possible. Maybe at some point it just like passed those with flying colors back in the day, like several months ago or so, and then I kept having the same OC on it. The core clock boost on it was completely stable. That wasn't the issue. It was literally just the memory clock. It was 130 core clock boost, and then it was 1700 memory clock boost. And that I was running for the longest amount of time without seemingly any issues. And then because I was always testing like unstable like Unreal Engine games that like are so unbelievably stuttery, hitchy, lots of hitching, VRAM issues and all that, it was hard for me to like diagnose what it was when it was sometimes happening. Though it did not happen with any of the easier to run games, like examples, Ghost of Tsushima, with God of War, with any of the like with AI limit, for example. I remember like that game crashing profusely like anytime, anywhere. But like all of these like Unreal Engine like 4 like games, Lost Soul aside, for example, Stellar Blade on PC, or 5 game, with these games, I thought the reason as to why it was happening was because the games themselves were so unstable, so it was just a thing that was hard to analyze because of what my sample pool was, right? So now when I finally went back to it, and I did notice that it was actually not stable on the 1700 megahertz overclock. So I literally just had to drop that down by 20 megahertz. So now it's 1680 megahertz boost clock, the memory, and everything is now completely smooth. It was a very small thing, and that is the reason as to why it was sometimes happening, and depending on how unstable the game was, it was happening more. So yeah, we shouldn't be seeing that at this point. Then again, it's something that I'm gonna be monitoring anyway. But yeah, this new OC that I have passed stress tests, benchmarks, and it's also stable in several games. So we'll see. Anyway, now that that's over, let's play the game.